Kevin on the soundboard knows what he's doing.
I like the drums.
What's going on? This is the Ryan Got the Bread podcast, which I hate the name, but I haven't changed it yet. I have Matt Uszaki, insurance agent here. We're going to talk about insurance, maybe some nerd games that we play on Oculus Rift.
Kim's like, no.
Should you pray that your house burns down or not? And all kinds of different insurance topics. And let's get into it. What's going on, Matt? How are you today?
Busy, man, busy. Our schedules are crazy, right? I'm surprised that me and you can get together, right?
Really?
With just so much going on.
I'm retired. You think I work a lot. I gave up. I'm half retired.
But see, this is why I like the Oculus, because I'm like, oh, I can actually hang out without having to physically being present.
The metaverse. Are you ready for the metaverse? You're on cutting edge. You're usually a little behind, but when you recommended us play on Oculus, I was like, really? Matt found a good game on Oculus? Okay.
Trust me, I've been through a lot of bad games. Wasted a lot of good money. Just kidding, Kim. I swear, like $20 I wasted. $20.
It's funny, you know, especially with COVID. I mean, at least you can kind of feel like you're with people if you weren't with people. You know, I'm a single guy. You got family and all that stuff, but if I'm in the house all day by myself, it's a little different.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know,
I mean, I gotta wait for bedtimes, but I'm at work. I'm itching. I'm like, I just want to go to this thing. I want to conquer some monsters, get it going.
So the reason why you are here is because, as I was saying, my audience is casually interested in real estate, or at least I think if you guys are part of my audience, which if you're watching this in the pre-recording, put it in the comments. Like, what's your background? What are you interested in? Anyway, I think insurance is something that people don't understand. When I work with first-time home buyers, and a lot of people, they don't understand insurance, and they're also very worried about the risks of home ownership. And I think that the risks are always kind of overblown because you do have insurance. And I always tell people you have homeowners insurance for a lot of these things that you're concerned about. And I mean, your deductibles, what, like $1,000 to a couple $1,000. It's going to be okay.
Right.
And before we were talking, let's just get into it. I was saying, I tell people sometimes you should hope your house burns down, you know, if it's kind of crappy. Well, here's the reason why I say this, right? Because my mom's house, I helped her renovate it, and a bathroom vent fan caught fire when no one was there because she was getting it ready to rent. And the fire, it was so crazy. It was actually a good thing because the fire started in the bathroom. It melted one of the PVC pipe connections,
Right.
which made the water put the fire out. So like the shower started melting, and then the water was spraying everywhere, which put the fire out. But then the water was leaking all night, and the water, like the floor fell in. It was like a whole disaster.
You're saying it's like claim on top of claim, problem on top of problem.
But the water damage basically like almost totaled the house, like, you know, because you had to get all new floors. Everything was warped. A lot of the lumber for the framing of the roof had to get done. Like all kinds of stuff had to get done.
Yep.
And long story short, she ended up with a better house after.
Which is crazy.
And she didn't use all of the money that she got for the insurance claim. So if you think about it on paper, it's like, well, you kind of made out, actually, you know. And I remember, you know, because she lives in California, and, you know, she's crying and worried about it. And I was like, oh my God, this is a giant disaster. But in hindsight, it kind of worked out.
So I'll say this. I'll never be one to suggest purposely ever wanting to burn your house down or file claims. You know, home insurance, I tell everybody like this. It's a necessary evil, right? Mm-hmm. We all buy a house. You buy a brand new house. You don't want that house to be a total loss. You don't want it to burn down. You don't want any issues with it, right? You're just hoping that you move in, that you buy this home insurance policy, and that you never use the thing. I'm just hoping that this policy just sits there.
Use it.
Well, if you got a lot of problems going on, right? In my end, I hope I never use it. And I told my customers this. If you ever end up having to use the home insurance, it's got to be something for catastrophic. Because what these companies do anymore is if you file a claim, whether it's a couple $100 that's paid out or thousands of dollars paid out, they're going to penalize you either way.
How?
Surcharges. This is what these insurance companies do.
What's a surcharge? Because I don't feel like
Surcharge is your penalty for using the insurance. Just like if you get into an auto accident. If you hit somebody and you're at fault and you cause all this damage, you're not going to have the same rates that you had the previous year.
You're saying so your insurance goes up.
If you cause the insurance companies, and again, I'm not in the claims department, so I don't know 100% how it all works. But yes, if you use the insurance, they pay it out. Then your customers want to know the following year, why did my rate go up? And then you got to explain, like, hey, the company's paid out money for this amount of damage. They're going to have to penalize you.
Really?
Yes. Rates will never stay the same. Even if you don't use the insurance, unfortunately, being in New Jersey, rates typically go up regardless.
Let's do the math, though. Right. Okay. If I get a newly renovated house and let's say I got $20,000 on top because I got it renovated for cheaper. How much more is your surcharge? Like, what are we talking?
Everybody's different.
So if
some might surcharge you $300. Some might say, "Oh, you had a previous house fire. We're not we're not going to insure this person."
Right.
Everybody's got their own set of rules. See, what I do is I deal with so many different.
But I'm saying, like, what do you think the scale is on like a surcharge for something like that?
I don't know, because sometimes when someone has a house fire, they could typically be non-renewed. Then there's not even a surcharge. The company's just being like,
right, they drop.
We're just going to drop you.
But then you're going to find somebody. Are they going to?
And everybody's going to be different.
But
so
is it going to be $20,000 difference?
No, not $20,000.
So you still see this? This is what I'm saying. People, do the math on real estate stuff. Okay. Okay, my surcharge. I pay an extra $5,000 a year. That means it takes 4 years for it to cost me to lose out on that extra $20,000 I got based off of the fire damage. I'm not advocating.
So Ryan's promoting house fire.
No. What I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, put these things in perspective, because people are so. I deal with first-time home buyers who are terrified of everything. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Don't be terrified. It's going to be okay.
They want to know every line.
They're going to say you're going to get a
surcharge,
surcharge, but you're also, if you do things correctly, you're going to end up with maybe extra money.
Right.
So it kind of works itself out. That's what I'm trying to say. See, you're in this insurance guy world, man.
Yeah, man.
So
not the claims world. So I'm not into claims stuff.
Yes. Okay.
I sell this stuff. Review this stuff. Make sure people do have proper coverages. So if you do have a claim, you're not freaking out.
Right.
Go over the fine lines of the policies.
Another thing. So one time, when I got my drone, I wanted to recoup the cost of the drone. So I signed up for this thing where it was like Uber for drone pilots, because I was federally licensed with the drone. And so what I did was, all the jobs they would give you would be insurance jobs. So like if someone has an insurance claim, 99% of the time it was from hail damage, right? So I would fly the drone and you have to do whatever shots they make you do or whatever, and they'd give you like, $80 to do it. And I went to this one neighborhood and it was like multiple properties where they all had hail claims, and like a roofing company was going around knocking on people's doors, telling them, hey, there was hail damage here. There's been multiple claims. Do you want me to file or help you with the thing? And you could probably get a new roof.
Right.
I was like, wow, so everyone has a new roof from the insurance claim on the hail.
It's crazy. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So what those guys were doing was they would redo the roof before the adjusters could come out. And next thing you know, people are getting the roof and they're just submitting receipts, and now they're getting all these new roofs.
Oh, they would do it before they would look at them? Really?
Yeah.
And Frank's in here. What's up, Frank? I appreciate you Frank's doing pest solutions. He's
Frank Ellis
dealing with a problem I have at one of my properties, and he's doing a great job of talking to my my tenant.
What's up, Frank?
Because I really try not to talk to my tenants as much as possible. And then Kim said, make sure they have the right coverage for their specific needs and a home warranty. Oh, no. Let's talk about home warranties later. One of you got, Kev, remind me to talk about home warranties because I'm not a fan of them. Okay, so let's keep talking about this hail thing, though, right? So you're saying that the roofer will go around and they'll do the work and then they'll submit it after the fact?
Well, you keep going on these claim questions. You got to remember, I'm in sales, so I don't know exactly the whole
That's right.
in and outs of what these roofers were doing. So I don't want to.
All right. Well, so from my perspective, what I was seeing, and this is another thing, it's like you should pray you have hail damage, right? If you have a 20-year-old roof, if it gets hail damage, then it's an insurance claim.
Well, what a lot of insurance companies are doing nowadays is when you submit and actually insure the house, they're going out and looking at the roofs.
Are they doing that now? Do you know that from the sales side? Like, how is that process?
So I personally will go out.
Many times, I feel like no one came and looked at anything.
Some don't. Nowadays, they're cracking down. Like, I got a lot that they'll go out and they'll take pictures, and if it looks like they got cracking shingles or moss is on the roof or it just looks worn, they'll be told, like, hey, we're going to cancel this policy unless you plan on getting a new roof. Because they don't want to be on the hook. But you guys got to remember, the insurance companies are in it to make money.
They don't want to pay.
They're in it to make money. They're a business. So they're not going to want to insure a bunch of homes with roofs that are falling apart, and then all of a sudden people are putting a ton of claims in.
Right.
And then the companies are losing out money. Then what do they do next? They either A, file for a crazy rate increase, or B, they leave New Jersey. They're like, forget it. We're not making any money. We're charging this person $800 for home insurance, and then we just got an $8,000 claim. We're not really making money. So it's like simple math.
What does your day-to-day as a insurance sales agent look like? Like, you go in the office and you do what?
So, dog didn't like that question. So it's a lot different what I do now as opposed to when I first started, because it was like...
Well, tell me about starting out, right?
Right.
So is anybody in here, this might be helpful, because I was just telling my brother, because he did solar sales for a couple days. Kevin over here producing, he's switching the camera. And I was like, I don't know about that. Sales is a good way to, like, really come up, like, especially you don't need a huge background to get into, like, multiple different sales things. I know you had to take a test or whatever, and you'll talk about that. But I was like, insurance seems like a pretty good thing to get into. So tell me about starting out and, like, the whole thing.
So it's definitely a sink or swim type of business. You get your license, you do the studying, whatever. Now you're ready to go, right? You got this insurance license. All of a sudden, people are like, "Oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to start selling policies."
And then you wake up the next day, and you're like, "What do I do?"
Yeah, right. You go in, you're like, "All right, I'm ready. Now what do I do?" And again, they call it a sink or swim profession, because either people are, like, really successful, they have a lot of contacts, like, you know, me and you got a lot of contacts. You build relationships. Other people don't want to get out and hustle and don't want to build relationships, and they just think that the phone's going to be ringing sitting at their desk. So you kind of got to be creative and think outside the box, especially nowadays, a lot lately with COVID and everything, and people not wanting to leave their houses as often. And what I kind of do is I kind of just do a little bit of everything. I do some old school stuff. I do some new school stuff. Me personally, I like seeing people. I don't like doing sales over the phone. I like to see people face to face. I like to go out to people's homes. I like to see what I'm insuring. I like to still shake hands where I can. Whereas, you know,
that's controversial shit.
Yeah.
These days,
where some people don't, you know, the ones that I hate to say that sink, they don't like the challenge. Like, they just don't want to. They don't want to. They're not motivated to go out. They don't want to meet the people. They
All
don't
right,
want to build.
hold on now. So let's go back to the beginning, right? When did you?
The beginning.
Yeah. When did you get? When did you say I'm going to do insurance?
So 15 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Right out of college, I was working for my dad at a warehouse, and his warehouse was closing.
How
up.
old were you at this time? You were out of college. What did you go to college
19, business management.
for? Okay.
So I was 19. Yeah, I was about 19.
You had a business management degree?
Yeah.
At 19?
Yeah. Was it 19, 20? I'm so bad. College is done at 20?
4 plus 18. 22.
22. Okay. So bad. All right, 22. Business management degree. And he's like, hey, the warehouse is closing up. You got to do something. And at that time, my brother was working in the insurance business. And he was like, what do you think about insurance? And my honest answer was, no. I don't want to do insurance.
Everyone says it's very boring.
Right. You just think insurance. No, I know nothing about it. It doesn't sound interesting. You think automatically sitting at a desk, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are, not doing anything physical. You're like, I don't know. I don't want to be on a keyboard. I don't want to be behind a cubicle. But I tried it out. I had nothing else going on.
How did you try it out, though? Like, what do you have to do?
So I submitted a job application online, and I was at the time working in Newtown, small office, and I was a service rep.
Tell
So I
me
wasn't even
about
sales.
getting hired, though, right? Because is it similar to being a real estate agent? Because can you take the test independently and then kind of choose where you go, or you still
Yeah,
gotta
you can
get
get license. Yeah, you can get licensed on your own.
right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about doing that. And
Because
then,
companies today, they don't care. They're just like, hey, if you got licensed, come aboard. Now, most companies, what they'll do is if you don't got licensed, their incentive is, hey, if you come work for us and you want to get licensed and work for us, we'll pay for your licensing.
Okay. And when you first started working, how did they structure, like, is it 100% commission? Do you get a salary? Like,
Everybody's different. You can be all commission. You can be part salary, part commission. You can be.
Well, tell me what your perspective on these is then. Because what I want to kind of make distinctions about is captive, uncaptive, and the different commission structures. Because just like mortgage loan officer, there's different ways to do it, but obviously some are meant for certain people versus others, right? Like 100% commission is good for people who are going to go get it.
Right, driven.
And then working at a place and just taking calls is maybe right for another person. So kind of educate us on, all those different distinctions, I suppose, as if you're telling somebody who, a young person who's like trying to figure things out and is like, oh, is this for me?
I honestly think to keep it simple with any sales job, you just got to be driven no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to come out and I think with any sales job and just have, this handed out salary where you can kind of sit back and just hope that things fall in your lap.
Right.
Like if I were to do insurance all over again, starting back from the beginning, I do what me and you kind of did. We're building relationships. You're getting out there on the internet. You got this YouTube channel thing going on. Like you really got to make yourself known because I think as you can see, real estate markets oversaturated, insurance business is oversaturated. So it's like now you got to get to the point where how do I differentiate myself from everybody else? Or am I just going to be noticed as another realtor or another insurance agent? And my whole thing was getting out and just showing our faces. I think that's what people really want to see now. They don't want to just talk to a voice and be like, okay, now what?
Well, what do you think about, like some of my insurance, I don't even talk to a person. I just plug it in online and I press process and then.
You talk to me?
Yeah, but for some of my stuff, like auto insurance or whatever, I have USAA and I just like, their rates are hard to compete with. And I just put stuff online and it's like done. So I think so my theory about this is that there are some industries where the old school like relationship still matters a lot. And I think people try to downplay that. Kind of what you're saying is like, you got to get out there, you got to talk to people. But at the same time, and I think this is more mainstream popular opinion, is that everything's getting like automated. People are talking about AI and all this stuff. What's your perspective on those things, I suppose?
I think if you do it the right way, people are always going to want a live person. My thing is, people can go.
Do you think the nature of that is different, right? Like, if you're getting a cookie cutter thing, is there a difference? Because with real estate, I used to kind of think real estate agents would get obsolete, but what I realize is that it's too specific, right? The area is too specific, the issues are too specific, the type of, like in this neighborhood, I know exactly what all the properties look like before I look at them. I don't know if you can recreate that with a machine yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the type of conversation that I can have is going to be much more valuable than an algorithm.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, I just, you know.
Let me go back to hold on. Let me go back to your question. Let me chime in for a second. Because sometimes I see sometimes on the internet people say, why have an agent? I can just get a policy.
Yeah, that's
online.
what I'm trying to ask you, basically.
And the problem with that is that you got people that are trying to buy policies online that don't have an insurance license, don't really know what they're exactly buying. So what they do with, whether it's closing on a home or they're buying a vehicle, they're like, I just want to sign up for whatever. So I'll just pick and choose the lowest coverages. I don't need this or that. And then that's fine. People will get a cheap price, everything, and everything's fine, Danny. And then come claim time, they have an accident or they got an issue, and they're like, wait, that's not on my policy?
Oh.
They're like, wait, that $8,000 claim has to come out of my pocket?
Wow.
Nobody told me. And it's like, well, you signed up for your own policy. Like, you didn't have anybody. And I got to say, that's one of the biggest things I like to do, whether I get the business or not. I always tell people, I'm like, if you want me to just look at something, if you're looking at another company, whether it's with, me or another company, I'll always look at it and I'll let you know what you might be missing. So that way, if you have an issue, it's not on you.
I think that's the key thing with client services, right? Like what you said is the same thing that I do with clients. I've had clients who have agents in a transaction, so I'm not getting paid jack shit from it, right?
Right.
But people have contacted me and asked me questions because...
And you don't charge for that.
I don't charge.
You're giving free advice. You just want to help.
Because it's so impactful. Like, if you don't know what's in your insurance policy, like me, like how we started this whole thing, which you're not a fan of, but it's okay, is taking advantage of the insurance that you have. I mean, you're paying for the insurance. So, if you qualify to use it, I'm not saying do something you're not supposed to do, but if things fall within the ramification or the category of being able to make a claim, it could be beneficial to you, right? Like sometimes you want to know what you have so you can use it if you need to.
Well, what we always do is we explain what could happen.
And that's so important.
And my people will be like, listen, this is what's going on. So the nice thing, the relationship that I got with my people is they'll call me first. Again, I don't deal with the claims, but they'll be like, here's what's going on. What do you think I should do?
Right.
And I'm like, well, here's going to be the repercussions. Like, I know you don't want to, it's not always great news I'm going to deliver, but I'm like, if you use it, here's the possibility.
Right.
Now,
that's important.
If you have a $6,000 water claim or whatever, and I could be like, you know what, you should bite the bullet and pay it out of your pocket because who's got $6,000 laying around? No.
Right.
But now my people know, like, hey, if I put this claim in, they fix all my stuff, I could either be dropped, I could face higher rates, whatever. So I'm not telling people to never use it.
Right.
You got to use it. You got to use it. I mean, that's what you pay for.
So what you're saying is, if you're going to do it, make sure it's a big claim. I'm sorry.
That came in creepy on my headset.
That's how the people heard it too. Hold on, let me get in the comments. Kim said homeowners need to be proactive and pay attention to normal wear and tear. Absolutely. Like when I show houses, that's a big, like, I don't do the HGTV thing. I actually like try to point out hey, you guys should budget for this. This thing is going to go bad in 5-8 years or something. Hey, the windows are this old, so start thinking about saving money to replace the windows, all that kind of stuff. I don't try to
But it's not even people too being proactive, because the carriers too, what they're doing now is they're cracking down on their inspections. So,
I mean, that makes sense, because, if they're going to give you insurance, I think you should use it.
If they come out and you got missing railings, that could be a liability issue, or
really?
windows look like they'll come out and be like, listen, you got this many days to.
What percentage do you think that they're coming out to the sites? Because I haven't seen an insurance person come out. They're like, hey, send us a picture of the front and the back of the house. I'm like, okay.
I don't know. Percentages, I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody's different.
Right.
Some might not come out at all. Some might come out in 3 months.
I'm saying that you're seeing within your business.
I don't really see them.
You're right.
I only really see them if there's issues.
Right. Okay.
If somebody's crisp and clean, they're not going to send a report like everything checks out.
But
we're
if
good.
you have a bunch of claims, they're going to start digging.
No.
No.
No inspection on inspection reports.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
They're just looking to make sure that the house is in decent shape if they're going to want to be.
Oh, okay.
Insuring it.
That totally makes sense. I just feel like I don't think an insurance agent multiple properties. I don't think anybody ever came out looking at something. And I'm not saying to embellish, but I am they don't know what it looks like. I don't know how they judge on that. So interesting. Let's get back to getting started as a real insurance agent. I almost said real estate. You got started at.
I don't know. I think 19, you know the age where I do.
Early 20s. Okay. Early 20s.
Coming right out of college. Right into it.
And so what was your method? What did you do to get your business at first? They put you in the office and you sit there and you go, okay, what do I do?
Right. I literally sat there at my desk.
How do I make money?
Right. And what I did when I first started was I was wasting a lot of money buying internet leads. People just surfing the internet wanting a quote for home or auto insurance.
That was the first thing I did as an agent. I paid Zillow $500 a month, and then someone would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click that."
You get a bunch of bad fake names, bad phone numbers, where you find out that you're the 20th agent that's calling
Stop
this person.
Calling me!
Yeah. And I would look at my credit card statements versus what I was making, and I was like,
I'm losing money.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not even making anything. I said, this is really not a good business to be in. So I was like, I have to change something. And what was happening, it wasn't just me. It was every insurance agent was starting to do that. Everybody just thought it was good business to just spend money, and hope that these leads would eventually work, which some worked.
Right.
But when you look at the time that you put in versus what you spend versus what you made,
I think same thing with real estate is there's so many not scams, but businesses built off of trying to extract money from lead generation, and they're garbage.
Yeah. Every single one.
That's what I learned early in the game because of my Zillow leads. I was like, if I paid $500 a month on Facebook with my content, that's why I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Oh, it would get way better results than if I was to pay some goofy lead generation site or something.
500 sounds low. When I was spending, I was like,
you were spending real money.
And then it's like your commission. You're like, all right, I made $40 off of that lead that I bought for $18, and the last 9 I didn't have any.
So what did work for you then?
The relationship building. Honestly,
so how do you build relationships though? Because okay, I'm in the office, I'm twiddling my thumbs.
That's the problem. You can't be in the office.
Well, what do? You go knock on people's doors?
Get out, meet people, get involved with the community, the locals.
Right.
Like me and you. How me and you connect. We connected off of a little marketing letter.
You sent me a letter.
Yeah, sent you a letter. Came out. We talked. You're like, yeah, let's go with it. And then me and you have had a business relationship. You helped me with social media and stuff. You had my little famous vest video that's still going strong 2 years later. And it's up to 30,000. I don't know if you saw it. It's at 30,000 views right now.
So for you guys listening, I have was doing a videography / marketing business, and we did a package for Matt, and Matt's
cool.
You could talk about it. I can't.
Yeah, it was cool.
you
want to talk about it?
I can't believe that you. Like,
it's still going. Yeah.
Funny.
I mean, it was literally a video of me walking through Burlington City, right by the businesses, walking the street, and then it had some of my community involvement with the kids playing basketball in Southampton. So, Ryan was videoing me coaching the game, and had me at my computer typing and doing some work, fake time, my mouth wide open, and then just had me talking about my family, which is cool. And then he just kind of like pieced everything together. So, and I was like, all right, let's run it. Because I want people to see, I want to be different. Like, you see those ads or whatever postings of, hey, I sell home and auto insurance. And I was that guy too for a while, right? Hey, if you're looking for cheap home and auto insurance, message me. And people were hitting me up, but after a while, right, it got boring, repetitive. People were like, okay, we get it. You do insurance. So I was like, Ryan, let's do something different. I want to do something different. I want to make a video. I was like, I really want people to know me personally. And Ryan did. He came out a couple nights, did the office thing, did the out of the office thing, did the basketball thing. And Ryan really made this nice 3-minute video. 3-minute?
No clue.
I think it's like a 3-minute video. Yeah. And to this day, I'm still posting it. People are still liking it and viewing it. Like I said, it's up to like 30,000 likes and a bunch of shares, so it's still going strong.
That's funny.
Kim says I need another video.
Oh, we finally got a sound. Well, but I always think that not selling is the new selling.
You're right.
Right? Because just like you say, like, get involved in things because you coach basketball, right? And so, like, being like a good person and like caring about your community, and then like just showing people that what you actually do goes a long way, and I think that works for everything, not just sales, but I think especially sales, because insurance is a commodity in a way, you know what I mean?
Right.
But people want to feel like they're talking to somebody that they want to talk to, or somebody that
you hit it spot
is
on.
A good person, You
hit it spot on. They want to talk to somebody that they feel comfortable with, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, and it took me a long time to kind of come to that, right? Because I'm kind of an analytical person where I'm like the numbers, blah blah blah, but really people just want to feel comfortable. When I work with clients, it's really not about anything other than them trusting you and getting a good feeling when they talk to you. You know what I mean? If you could do those two things, I think you could do any sales, actually, whether it's insurance, life insurance, real estate.
Well, what's funny? Like, it got to a point where, because they always push you in sales saying follow up, right? You follow up in emails, you follow up a phone call, blah, blah. And my mentality to that was, no, I don't ever like to be forceful with a sale. I just never do. And a lot of times people will call back and say, I went with you because you weren't like pushy. I've had all these other people, like, they'll call me like 6-7 times, follow up. I'm like, no, what do you need to follow up with? If you know what the coverages are, you know what the price is. I always say, listen, ball's in your court. When you're ready, you're ready. If not, whatever. And sometimes, I'll never hear from them again. And that's all right.
Right.
Like I had an example on a client that I just wrote a week ago. This was a nice one. He was an older guy. Mailed him out a letter. He wanted me to come out to visit him in his retirement center, and I did. I came out, reviewed everything, and I was just like, listen, this you got everything's good with your current policies. The rates are good. The coverages are good and everything. I go, the only problem is I think you're missing some discounts. Like, I don't see any multi-stuff. So that conversation ended up, he called his current company and they actually applied extra discounts he wasn't getting. So he was happy about that. I go, and he felt bad that I came out to his house and didn't get it. I go, don't feel bad. I go, I'm happy that you just saved money. Well, he got his renewals from his other company and he held on to my information. He called me this year and he goes, I just want you to come out and do everything again. I'm ready to go with you this time.
Yeah, that really is a funny thing that you're saying, because I've been playing with this concept. I think about all weird kind of stuff, right? But and it's like weird metaphysical stuff. Like, you know, I think I've been battling with this, especially creating content, right? Is I see the flashy, clickbait, cheap, but no integrity stuff. Like, people will do anything to get attention. People will say anything. I see a lot of like real estate YouTube people. I see a lot of like gurus and all this, and I could tell that they are playing the algorithm, or like playing to get the attention. That's all they're trying to do. And I think that works fast. Like, people want to go viral. People want to do that. And same thing with real estate. I think you can get quick money, or almost anything. You can get quick money, but it doesn't last. And I think authenticity and integrity, while it doesn't sound fun and you're not going to make $1 million in a year, that guy that you talk to, like you said, a year later, he says, wow, that guy put my interests above his.
Yep.
And that means something. And you don't get rewarded for that.
Right.
For a year,
2 years,
3 years. He might refer you. His cousin might be a millionaire and give you some kind of big deal because he says, you know what, that guy had integrity. He put my interest above his own, and I think you should work with him. And I think over the long run that wins out over your lifespan.
Yeah.
I think the sleazy shit works quick. You
right.
get some money, like you could have probably convinced that guy. But when the renewal comes and referrals come, is it going to refer you? How many, you know, because I always think when I'm dealing with a real estate client as an agent, how many people they would want to refer me to. Like, when I do business with somebody, I want them to feel good about giving a referral.
Right.
That's literally my objective.
Right.
Some people just want to close the deal.
You're
you
right.
know what I mean?
You're 100%
and I think, man, if there was a mindset that I wanted to, like, it's a battle right now. It is a battle, though, I think, because there's just so much, like, cryptocurrency, the metaverse, NFTs. Everybody is chasing the disruption and making money, but it's like, are you providing real value, or are you just like in it to make a quick buck? And I think that quick buck mentality works for like 1% of people. But if you care about things and you really, 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 really like do your best and put other people ahead of yourself, it will come back.
You're right. Yeah. They always say what? Pay it forward, right? I always say that. The people that's why I think the people that sink are the ones that are just thinking, hey, there's like a lot.
How can I get money? It's like
right.
money. Like, they're thinking about money rather than people. Like, I always think that, like, just, I hate, like, I get that vibe right away if I'm talking to somebody, like, they're just caring about money. Like, they'll do anything.
How many times do you hear this? So there's a lot of things I do volunteer, right? And I'll get this question like, man, you're doing that and there's nothing coming in your hand right now. And I go,
I hate that.
There's nothing coming in my hand right now. I go, if you want that instant gratification, that's not the way. I think for any sales job, regardless if it's real estate, insurance, whatever, if you want life. Life. If you want that instant gratification, man, people are going to forget you quick. And they're going to remember that you want that instant gratification. Like, man, that guy just really seems like he was just about the dollar. And you can see right through that, right? I could be in a one-on-one conversation. I could read right through somebody like, because I've had sales pitches, right? People want to sell me their internet stuff or their lead services, and I can sense it over the phone. I can sense it in person. I'm like,
they're using a script.
Yeah, you're not caring. Right. I'm like, what line are you on right now? Because I can totally tell you're just reading it. I'm like, you're not interested in if I succeed with your program. You're just interested in what you're going to make now, and I'm never going to refer you anybody.
Like, if the program doesn't make sense for my situation, will you still keep trying to sell it to me? You know what I mean? Like, that's a big thing. I worked at a mortgage company, and I actually posted about this. Like, would you follow a rule or a law that's immoral, right? And my example was, I worked at a mortgage company, and part of how they graded your performance was on how many times you pulled credit, because it was a call center. But it's like, I could tell that this is not going to work for this person, right? Like, from what they've told me, it's probably not going to qualify, and it's not the right situation for them to take this loan. So why am I going to pull their credit and then give them a hard inquiry and get all into this? And I know it's not going to work, but the company creates a negative incentive for you to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think, I don't know. I just think we got to make a decision what you value and what you're going to do, and I think that making that hard decision will pay. And I'm not even saying you do it for it to pay off, but like, usually it does pay off later if you make the harder choice, and it'll last longer.
Listen, I've walked away from plenty of deals because I was just like, nope, that's the wrong thing. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather just not.
Hey,
I'd rather not get the sale, dude.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that's what exactly. Like, hey, if you want that, go down here and you can get it there. And sometimes people come back like, you know what, I thought it over. You're right. Let's just go forward with everything. That's the right decision. Because I always tell people, I'm like, listen, something happens and you're not covered properly, it's going to come back on me, right? And then it's going to probably.
I couldn't sleep at night. Like, if I did something like that, and then
trinkle, right? It's got the trinkle effect.
And then they need to make a claim, and it ain't covered, or something. Oh my God! And then they call you. I couldn't bear the.
Right, you're gonna get that phone call at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
being like, yo, man, I just had you missed
didn't tell
this
me.
on my policy, and now,
oh my God,
and that was only $30 for the year. And now because I didn't get that, I'm paying 11 grand out of my pocket. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people have those kind of phone calls. I'm like, no, I will not do that. Nope.
Yeah, so for everybody listening, I just think
because how important is word of mouth, right? You do something great.
What's funny, and word of mouth is even magnified because now word of mouth is I post on Facebook and 1,000 people see it.
Right.
Word of mouth used to be like 5 people heard about it. Now it's like everybody will hear about it, which goes back to the podcast that just came out today. Drew Thompson, a mortgage loan officer, was talking about that, like the pressure of living up to your reputation. Do you ever feel like it's hard to live up, like, because people have referred you and stuff? You ever feel like, man, this is hard to
I mean, come on. Yeah, it's stressful because sometimes, if I try to go away with the family, I don't just put my phone down, right? Because you got people messaging you, and it's hard because, you got like some stressful times where you're trying to create memories with your daughter or your wife, and you got somebody blowing you up being like, yeah, I just found I need home insurance next week. I'm buying, like, can you do something right now? You're like, oh my God, I'm away. But then it's like you said, you built up yourself and you don't want to say no.
I don't want to be that guy that doesn't answer the phone.
Right. So you got to be like, yeah, let me just hop on and I'll try to create something real quick. So it's like in one aspect, it's hard. You're trying to balance family life with work life. And when you're in sales, it's challenging.
Because
it's so challenging.
Guys, for you guys not in sales, like, you don't make money if you don't, like, answer the phone.
Right. And you could spend a lot, right? You could spend your whole night on the phone and not make a dime.
That's too.
Right? You could be like, you know what? Tonight, I'm going to have my wife put my daughter to bed because I really got to quote this person, get this insurance rate.
And they say, nah.
Or you just never, right. They ghost you and you're like, man, I gave up my night with my daughter. And this person I could have, made something off of. They just kind of wasted my time. And I try not to get angry about that. Like, you kind of just got to know that comes with the job. That in the end of the day, you could run 50 million quotes, spend a whole week with somebody, and they decide to go somewhere else, and you don't get a dime. You just don't.
that's the Tom Brady thing. Is like, you just got to put in the work and do your best.
Put in the work, dude.
And like, you got to like putting in the work, and you got to, and whatever the result is at the end, you just
accept
gotta
it.
live with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough.
I mean, sometimes it comes back where you know, something could be really quick. Someone just calls out of nowhere and they're like, hey, you know, my friend referred me to you. I need this quote. You hit it up. They're like, send me the paperwork, and you're done. Like, all right. So it does kind of balance out. But to put like I know a lot of agents, they'll be like, oh, I have, you know, time restrictions on when I do work and when I don't. I go, man, do you?
That's weird, right?
Like, how do you tell somebody to please hold for a day? Like, Kim will come down to me all the time. She'll be like, you have to immediately respond. Like, if you sent me a message like, hey, what are you doing? You want to hop on Oculus? I'm like, I can't make people wait. It's just in me not to make people wait.
You know, I feel like that too.
I
get mad. Like, I've been dealing with a lot of attorneys. Man, they piss me off. No one answers me. What is that? Just, I think it's disrespectful. I actually think in every category, like, just
because who's not on their phone?
If you are interested, if you're busy, just say something.
Isn't everybody on their phone anymore? Right?
They see the shit, man. Just say, you know.
I said something one time on Facebook before.
Just say.
I said the ones that tick me off the most is when you can literally see them read your message and then they don't respond. Or they'll respond 2 days later and be like, hey, yeah, sorry, I got tied up. Just want to get back to you. I go, man, the thing I asked was like, I don't know, could have probably took 2 seconds, where if I read it, I'm definitely responding right away. If you see me not reading it,
right,
there's a reason. I'm out. But if I'm pulling up, I'm like, oh, I gotta. Just right before I came over here, Kim looked at me. She goes, really, Matt? She always points at me. She goes, really, with the phone? I go, yeah. I mean, this is my life, right? This is my life. I gotta constantly keep doing this, or you miss out, right? Agree. Somebody else could be doing that. So
I know it's hard to balance.
Listen, if I was single, I didn't have any kids, right? I didn't have a wife or anything, it'd be so much easier. But again, to try and find that balance. Like,
Do you feel balanced?
Oh, man. My answer would be different from Kim's. I honestly, Kim,
you like it.
Bless Kim, because she'll give me all the credit. She'll be like, oh my God, Matt, you're doing great. You're coaching basketball. You're very involved with Olivia. You take us to places. You work. And then I sit there and I go, is it balanced enough? Really, is it balanced enough? Because I know.
That's an outside voice.
Yeah.
That's not your voice.
I know, it's an outside voice.
Because that's like, am I supposed to be doing certain things?
But you're asking me, do I feel balanced?
No, well, I think that's an interesting thing, and this is
tough.
something Gary Vee talks about, is like, if you're okay with it, you should be okay with it. You know, some people want to work more. You know, like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Do you feel like it's the appropriate amount? Like, are you satisfied with that?
I think I am.
Right. And I think that's why it's good to have family and everything.
Now, can I say something that I think is crazy that I see some people post, like some agents, that they literally don't want to have a family because they want to have they just want to do insurance and work and make money. And that, honestly, that kind of saddens me a little bit, because I go, it's nice. Trust me, I love helping people. I love talking to people. I love being involved with people, but I can never imagine where I'm at without my family. Like, I would never be like, you know what? I wish I wasn't married. I wish I didn't have kids. I wish I was just selling insurance and that's all I had to come home to. And some people are totally okay with that. And I think that's...
Are they young?
No.
Really?
Middle-aged. So they're not fresh out of college, and they're not, you know,
are they
senior
single
citizens.
people that are saying this?
Yeah.
I think that's a cop-out, man. I feel like that's a big thing right now. Like, the idea is, as a single guy, I'm going to get sad.
But what's the famous saying? You don't want to live to work, right? You just don't want to be
What's
working,
the point of that?
Right. You don't leave anything behind, right?
Yeah,
You're
what's
just
the point?
One day, right?
I think that's a very modern thing that is really bad, is that people are starting to treat things that way. It's
like they just want to work and that's it.
They don't. we're not valuing like traditional things
Right.
that I think give us most people fulfillment. And I think what they're doing is giving up on that, on family, when I think it's not. I think they want it though.
It's hard.
But it's hard, and so they just write it off.
And then what's going to happen?
And society is not pushing that, right? Like,
Well, let's look down the timeline, right? What's going to happen one day? They're going to
yeah,
get older, and then they're going to be like, man, I kind of gave up my life to just do this.
for what?
Yeah.
Right.
So again, to backtrack to, am I balancing? I think between bills and work, customers and family, I think I'm balancing as much as humanly possible. Kim, if you disagree, comment. I would like to hear Kim's comment on this, if she's still tuned in.
She said, "You're right, Ryan." I'm not sure what she was referring to there, actually, but yeah, it's an interesting thing because I'm starting this dating relationship podcast. I'm really into this space and trying to figure this. So,
Kim, I volunteered us for that, by the way.
I am like half retired. I tell people, because I'm only taking certain clients on the real estate side.
So that's a nice thing, right? When you eventually get to a point where you can.
Well, that's the
comfortable.
thing. So my goal, I've like achieved my major goal, which was like financial freedom. Like I can wake up, I could stay in bed all day for the rest of my life if I want to. I'm not going to be like, balling out of control with money or anything, but I don't have to do anything. Which is weird because part of that goal was kind of actually inspired by my grandfather, who he would go to my soccer practices, and he lived in Philly and I was in Jersey. But I feel like that had a big impact on me, like his presence, his influence.
Yeah.
And I realized young, like 16 or something, like, if you want to go to I guess from movies, like the rich guy who's always working doesn't go to his kids' stuff. I'm always like, that doesn't seem like what I want to do. Like, I would love to be involved with my kids and family and all that kind of stuff. And so I literally designed my life.
Speaking of that, Livy was very upset because she thought she was coming to hang out with me and you.
Came.
No, she went, dude, the dogs would have been going nuts. She was like, what do you mean, Dad? I got to watch it on TV. I don't get to see Ryan. I go, I'll tell him, Liv, but no.
But so like, my goal was to get financially stable as early as possible so I could be present. So now I'm on this, that's why this dating relationship podcast is interesting, because I kind of neglected that part of my life in a way. And now...
Yes, you have, because I've asked you before. I'm like, Ryan, what's going on?
Now I'm trying to figure it out, and it's like, oh, man, it's tough out here. So, but I've had an existential crisis about it. It's like, I'd made a lot of sacrifices to get here, and now I'm here, and I'm like, I don't celebrate things like when the first investment property, I remember closing, and they're like, aren't you, this is like crazy, I was like 20 something years old, fourplex, I was the only person in my military unit who did anything like that, whatever. And they're like, aren't you excited? And I'm just like, well, what's the next one? That's kind of like my personality. So, now I've gotten to I'm like the dog that gets the bone. And then it's like, what do I do with the bone? Like, I don't know what to do.
There's a lot of personalities like that out there, though.
So, but I'm rudderless without a mission because I've achieved my mission. And then I guess my mission is this.
Dating?
I gotta find my wife out here somewhere. And, I don't know.
I mean, there's so many.
But I've neglected that category of life.
I wish you didn't put that out there because now Kim's listening because she's always wanting to be matchmaker.
Oh, yeah?
Especially with Cupid's Day coming up.
No lie, I definitely have looked at matchmakers online. But they want like $20,000, $50,000. I'm like, whoa, take it easy.
No.
Kim
is free. Here we go.
I don't try to change Matt. I just embrace the person he is, always supportive. He is busy for all the right reasons. That's another thing. Is like, look, I don't want to get all into this, man. I'm gonna get into it tomorrow on the relationship thing. But it's like, I'm always gonna be kind of that driven person. Like, don't get in my way when I'm on a mission. Like, be supportive. Like, I'm going this way.
Yeah.
This is what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I really think you need to have Kim on this podcast. Kim,
I'm talking about it.
Kim has, I'm trying to think of how many relationships and weddings and marriages she has created since I've seen her.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, quite a few. And they're all very happy, still happily married together.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Want to hear something really funny? So when I first met Kim, she was actually my person that would edit my match dating profiles.
Oh, that's how it always goes.
I would take it to her. She'd be like, no. You got to take this out. You got to do that, blah, blah. Next thing I know, I'm marrying
there you go.
my matchmaker.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
That's funny. All right. Wow, this went on a way tangent, but I'm glad it did. It's some good stuff there. Okay, we're back. So what I do want to pull out of you is like,
Pulling stuff out.
what is the insurance like? Educate us on the business. Like, what's it like? What's your day to day? What do you do? How'd you get into it? Well, you kind of said, but do you think the test is hard?
I actually failed it a couple times.
Oh my goodness.
Kim passed it on her first time. No, the test is not. It's not hard. So we got into it because of a sibling. So thank you for that.
When did you like start to like it? Right, because you didn't want to do it.
Right. My very first thought was I didn't want to do sales. Period. I didn't want to sell cars. I didn't want to sell. I didn't want to sell anything.
Sales has a weird.
Right. I actually went to school first to become a veterinarian. I wanted to work with animals. And then I was like, all right, this is going to be a long time in school, a lot of money. I got to find something different. And I honestly fell into insurance. So I started out as a service rep, and then I kind of saw and was observing what the sales agents were doing. I was like, I think I can kind of do that, because when you're a service rep, you're kind of more behind the desk. Like, you can't get out and see people.
Right.
Oh, you want to change your policy? I'm going to run down to your house. No, you literally have to be at your desk, 9 to 5. And I was like, I don't like that. I like talking to people, but I was like, I want to do more. So then I was like, I want to go for sales. And a lot of people were like shooting the idea down. They're like, no, don't do sales. You're going to fall on your face. It's tough. You're not gonna make a lot of money. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to prove everybody wrong. I even had managers, telling me that. They're like, no, I don't think you're quite ready for sales. I think you should just, be a service rep for another couple of years. And I was like, no, I don't want to be stuck here for another couple of years. I want to actually advance. Like, I'm motivated. I want to do stuff. And I came right out of the gate, and I was killing it, because again, I took that old school mentality mixed again with some new school. I wasn't just mailing out stuff. I was like, mailing flyers here, doing a couple cold calls here and there. Side note, I hate cold calling. I don't like calling people out of the yellow books and be like, yo, I know you live in a house that needs to be insured. So
that crap is dead, man.
Nope. And I know a lot of companies that would have their employees just sit there after hours and cold call all night. And I was like, I am not a cold caller. I don't like that. I feel like that's a very forceful sale. I don't want to do that. And then, so when I first started my career in insurance, it was over in Pennsylvania. And then when we had Olivia, I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. If I was going to stay in PA or if I was going to come over to New Jersey. So I decided to come over to New Jersey. And I said, listen, I'm going to be here. I want to make something happen here. I want to be involved. I want to grow this community. I want to run basketball leagues, et cetera, et cetera. I want to create, business pages. I just want to do everything that the community wants, that a community should be. Because honestly, in my old spot in Pennsylvania, I could never do anything. Everybody was too quickie for me, to be honest. So we come over to Southampton, start meeting a couple faces here and there. All started with basketball. Became good friends with my assistant that helped me run a league. And then next thing you know, we're meeting more parents, this league, that league. All right, now we're doing this sport, we're doing that sport. My daughter's like, I want you to keep coaching. I want you to coach it. I'm like, Liv, I don't know soccer. Right, I know you're a big soccer advocate. She's like, I want to play soccer. I want to try it. Can you coach? I'm like, all right. I didn't know what I was doing. But again, I still met people. And then after a while, like, people start to be like, all right, I know the face. And I see a lot of like ads going on. Oh, this guy does insurance. Kind of like how you predicted this whole thing. You're like, it will probably get crazy, Matt. Like you warned me. You're like, it's going to get crazy if you do like these little videos and you're heavily involved with the community. And we start doing like Facebook stuff. And I was like, all right, Ryan, whatever. Let's just run it. And now today I'm like, it's crazy. Like right before we signed on, I had 2 people messaging about insurance. I'm like, it's so, and Kim says all the time, she's like, how do you keep up? Like, how do you? And I'm like, that is the most challenging part, is that the fact that you don't want to disappoint.
Right.
I have that personality. I was talking to one of my customers the other day, my brother's mother-in-law. She's like, you just have that, unfortunately, we have that personality where you don't want to miss a call. You don't want to leave somebody hanging. You don't want to leave a message unresponded. If you miss something, it haunts you forever.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh my God, you told me this like a week ago and I totally forgot.
I think that it does help to respond to people right away, actually, because
100%.
then it doesn't sit in the back of your mind. You just answer. Like,
yeah.
Just say something.
Yeah. It would be like at the dinner table. She's like, what are you doing right now? I go, I'm deleting all my text messages and Facebook messages that I responded to.
Right.
Because I can't have 100 messages and try and figure out what was accomplished and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So literally that's part of my day. Dinner time. I try to have dinner. I try not to do the phone at dinner. That's where my daughter tells me about school and everything. So once she's done school, dinner talk, everything, I go through my phone. I try to clear out everything, make sure I'm mentally caught and physically caught up with everything.
Right.
Gym's a big part of my life because I'm like, I just need an hour to just.
Right.
If you just work all the time and you're not doing any kind of exercise, I think that's not mentally good, because I feel good running, right? I'm like, all right, it's my stress reliever. I'm good.
It's a different type of challenge. That's why I always play sports, because it's a physical, like you can be like a more animal.
Yeah.
I'm going to push my body.
Well, not for nothing. How about like the Oculus stuff? I told Kim, I go, don't laugh at me, but I go, it's actually like therapeutic for me.
Because you're not thinking about everything.
Not thinking about insurance. I'm just thinking about what monster I'm sticking this knife to, right? Or what door we got to unlock. And I'm like, it's nice that I can conversate about stuff that's not business-like.
Yeah.
So our 9 to 11 o'clock at night is just, we're in this this fake reality, using our imagination, conquering, and it's like, all right, we shut it down, take off the Oculus, and you're like, all right, now it's back to the business, right? Yeah, cleared.
I like that.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining my Oculus Demio group. What is it called?
Demio?
Demio? Is it Demio?
Yeah. So we play this game. I think it's called Demio. DEMEO.
Yeah.
In Oculus, it's like a D&D board game.
It's crazy.
And it's pretty fun, but I think it's kind of social. Like you could talk, like you could just have a chat while you're playing.
Yeah, we make fun of each other. We yell at Josh for trying to go rogue. Right, like, Josh, stay back, stay back.
So I think that's a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, and then then I got, as far as like the salesy stuff I do. So if I'm at work, right, if I'm not out in the road visiting clients or taking pictures of houses. So I'm at the agency and I'm just like on the phone. So I got to service, I still got to service accounts, not just sales. I'm servicing people. If anybody's randomly texting me, I got to.
Hold on, though. How do you guys get paid? Because the thing I was telling Kevin, my brother over here producing, was that you get paid a percentage like on renewals and stuff, like, right? So like, if someone has homeowners with you for 5 years, you're kind of getting paid for 5 years from that. Is that?
But everything, every year, everything goes down.
So it does go down.
which kind of stinks because that kind of puts the mentality on a lot of sales agents to just worry about the new stuff, right?
Oh.
They're like, oh, I get the higher percentages on the newer stuff, so I don't really need to really care about this. And that's never my mentality. I'm like, I get people all the time. They're like, they've been with me 6, 7, 8 years. They're like, hey, my rates went up. Can you kind of look at it? And I'm not gonna be like, no, you know what? They've been with me. I got paid on it. I'm good. No, still always gonna run it through the system because again, right? We talk about the referrals. People are gonna remember that stuff. If you just flat out ignore it, be like, man, my rates went up, and he kind of just like didn't get back to me. He ignored me. So I don't really think he's a good guy. I really don't think he's a good agent. I think he was just out for the instant buck and wanted me at the beginning. Now doesn't care. And people remember, like I had 3 today. They're like, oh, wow, you responded that. Again, the response time is huge, right? They're like, wow, you've been with me. And I forwarded an email to Tim the other day, my boss, and I go, check out how cool this was. The guy left, right? He was with me for a while. He left, went to another company. And then he came back. And I always say this, don't burn your bridges with people, right? If they leave, okay. Did you try to keep them? Okay. If they still leave, you're like, all right, man. Hey, if down the road anything, I always say if something.
It's not personal.
Right,
They probably
right.
picked something that seemed like it
I
made
said,
more
wow.
sense.
I'm like, wow, you got that kind of rate? I'd go too.
Right.
I'm not offended. I go, listen, things always change, right? Especially
they don't owe you anything.
Right.
That's so funny in sales. Like, why do people think, like, why would
But
they
this
owe
is
me
where I
something?
think the relationships that I built with my clients is so great, where they actually are afraid that I'm going to be upset when they leave. And I go,
Right.
guys, it's okay. Like, I know you got to save where you can save. So I had this guy. He's been with me overall 10 years. So he left, went to another company. He comes back. He goes, hey, I want you to run rates again. I go, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. Blah, blah. Some people might get offended that he left in the beginning. Be like, no, you know what? I don't want any of your time. I go, yep, we'll run it. And then he wrote back, ended up selling them home auto and umbrella insurance, saving him a bunch of money. He was happy. And he goes, I'll never forget 10 years ago, I was just moving to New Jersey from Tennessee. I was so stressed out. I didn't know what to do. And he's like, and you just made everything so easy. And he's like, it's nice to know that 10 years later that you're still at the same agency and I was able to come back and that you're my agent again. And I forward that to, anytime I get those kind of emails, I'm always like, the world needs to see more positive stuff. And I go, so anytime there's a nice comment, I either post it or I forward it to Madge. I'm like, this is what people have to say. Like, here's the value that you have in me.
Right.
And I think this is where it is important that you do have an agent, that can kind of walk you through. Everybody today is so quick, right? We're a high-paced life. Like phones, traveling, people are like, I don't have time. So I'm like, if you don't have time, here's all you got to do. Send me your stuff. I'll send you a list of questions. When you hear from me,
Right.
you'll hear from me, and then you let me know what you want to do. People don't have time to. Most people don't have time to sit down and review line by line and go over every little thing. It's like, okay, this is going on and on and on. I mean, you tell me, how did you think your experience was with me when I came out?
Yeah, it was good. I do appreciate the interaction, although most things I try to do without having to talk to somebody.
You do.
Which is funny.
You do.
You
You
know?
do not like it.
I don't like I call it fiddling. If I had to fiddle with something, I don't want to do it.
That's why I was surprised you wanted to do the Oculus game. I was like, I don't know if Ryan's going to be.
No, I love games. I'm a nerd.
But I thought you would like the like Zombicide and all. I thought you would like the physical games. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to like the VR stuff.
It's pretty
But you
cool
do.
because you could sit there and it's kind of like you're hanging out with people.
As long as you have a charger, Josh.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty good. Hopefully people got a lot out of this. Talked a lot about. It went a different way than I thought it was going to go. So
but you know
that's
what?
always
This is why I like these live. I don't like scripted stuff, right? You're like, all right, what question do you want to go?
It sucks.
I like just throw stuff out and then
It's real, it's authentic. It's. I think that people are infinitely interesting. Even uninteresting people are actually interesting, right? Like where you come from, what's your perspective?
Yeah.
And I think that especially on how to mentally approach work, and especially when your income relies on that work, you know, on a more commission basis. It's
right, because
something that people are struggling with, because there's a lot of people who are doing their own business or side hustle or whatever, and you have to have your mind right about it, because if you're trying to just get paid, it's probably not going to work. You know, you got to be, and you're not going to feel good. You know, so I think that's a really important thing. That's a theme that's been coming up along these podcasts.
You know what I think scares people with any kind of sales job is the unknown. Right? Every day's unknown.
Yeah.
I could go into the office tomorrow and no calls, crickets. I'm like, all right, so I went in, got no payment. Or
you got to trust the process.
You really have to trust.
Shout out to Joel Embiid.
Yes, Joel Embiid. Yes, trust the process, because it's like you never know, right? Like you just put stuff out there and it will either stick, it won't stick. You might get a sale, you might not get a sale. The only thing I can say is this to everybody is, if you're thinking about getting into the insurance business, right? You just can't get frustrated. And you can't be a one-dimensional salesperson. You have to throw so many different things out, because this is another thing I've seen, even reflecting on myself, is that I had one sales tactic when I first started, right? Things started to change, right? Everybody's starting to do the same sales tactic, and you're like, man, it's not working anymore. Like, I'm spending a lot of money, I'm not making any money now. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, you're like, I gotta change something. Now, what most people do is they want to give up, right? They're like, this job just isn't for me anymore.
Right.
I'm done. I gotta do something else. Me, I'm the personality where I like a good challenge. I took it as like, all right, I gotta do something different. And I did. So I was like, I'm gonna do 6 different things. And I was like, that way, if 3 of them are failing, the other 3 are at least doing something. And then of those 3 that are doing something, maybe that one is really doing something, and I can start to focus on that one. But times are changing. Everything's so fast-paced right now.
Especially, I mean, the world has changed so much. It's just really tough to adapt to.
Yeah.
Like, even this real estate market's been difficult for me to adjust to. What's like the conversations that I have to have with clients is way different.
Right? Remember when I checked in with you? I was like, Ryan, how are you with this business, dude? We just had I saw a guy post a video on Facebook, and he was typing in zip codes to show you how little inventory there is. And he did 4 zip codes, and he goes, it's crazy. In 4 zip codes, he goes 8 listings in the $100,000 to $200,000 range.
Oh, that doesn't exist anymore in our area. 200,000.
Maybe it was like 2 to 3, something like that.
It's tough. Yeah, I just had a tough conversation with somebody today about it. I was like, what you're describing is $400,000, and you said that you only want to
Your budget's
$1,500 a month. Well, you can't do it. I don't like to tell people they can't do it. Like, I'm the guy who finds a way to get around things. Like with the insurance that we started with, you get around, you find the loopholes, you do what you got to do, and it's like, well, there's no loophole, man. It's $400,000.
It is what it is.
The
numbers don't lie.
Twice as much to buy what you're trying to buy right now.
And
Cash is trash.
Yeah.
Cash is trash. I kind of do the same thing where, give people the rates and they go, well, is there anything else I can do? I'm like, I can't. The numbers are what they are. If you want XYZ coverage, this is what it costs. If you're getting XYZ coverage from
Imagine that everyone's insurance went up 50%. Like, what kind of conversations? But the market increased 50%.
I was going to say, so if you said the company, that's
not just your
they could
company.
just leave.
Yeah, they would just leave, but they can't just leave. So it's like, what do you tell people? And you're telling people who like.
Well, what do you think we're telling people now?
Right.
I mean, rates are like at an all-time high, especially in home insurance, because the cost of materials going up. So everybody's getting their renewals, and the dwelling is going up, and people are like, well, why is the dwelling going up? Well, dude, if you have a total loss, like the lumber and everything is this amount of money. So I mean, people are seeing like $400 or $500 increases on home insurance with no claims.
Wow.
And it's like the benefit I have at least is like I can check out the other markets. Some people that just write for one company, they just gotta be like, I'm sorry. Like it is what it is. There's just no way around it, which is scary. And flood is. Don't even get me started on flood. Flood is just
we'll
insane.
Have to talk about that on the next one, the flood insurance.
I mean, all the carriers are just Yeah, whacked out. That's a whole different category, which is why I don't really venture into flood anymore.
I know you were the flood insurance guy, and then you gave up.
You know what I mean? I mean, people are losing deals left and right
Yeah.
because of this crazy flood. I actually got to go home tonight and look up a guy's flooding home. I'm like, for a property he's trying to buy. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, thanks, Kim, for supporting,
Woohoo!
and Frank.
Frank
And
and Kim.
anybody who, there we go. If you guys watch this in post, definitely drop some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the live format. And
This was fun.
yeah, and if you want to be an insurance agent, you have questions, reach out to me. I might be able to put you in contact with Matt since he can't say no to anyone.
And don't burn your house down.
Don't burn your house down, but don't cry if it burns down. Leave it on that.
Bye, guys.
See
Bye.
ya. Kev, can you hit the stop or whatever button stops that? I'm very sad.
Oh, this
that's all right.
sounds weird.
That was my fault. Yeah, now you're back in the real world.